So we are live?
Right.
Oh my God, we are live.
Okay.
We are alive.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone. You good? Good? You eat something? You drink something? It's fine? You're not stressed anymore after work? No, chill out? All right, good, good. So let's talk about work. No, just kidding. Okay, so it's 77 AWS User Group meeting. We have in this marvelous place as usual. Havre, thank you very much. The crew here is amazing, and we want to welcome you. And today, together with Maria, first time she went out from the laptop here. So a little bit applause, because it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah, good, good. All right, guys, who's the first time? Who's the first? You're the first time. Okay, come on here. I'm just kidding. All right, so if you are not the first time as well here, you know a little bit the rules. So the rules are pretty easy, right? So the community speaks to community. We have guests as well, and our partners that make this event possible. Mm-hmm. Maria, what do you have something to say? You're just so silent suddenly.
First of all, I'd like to say
Perfect.
First of all, I'd like to say that it is our 77th meetup from very beginning, which was started
357 years ago. Yeah. No, it was really 12 years ago. I think 12 or 10. I remember. I'm so old. 11? Oh, yeah, he remember. He supposed to get a gadget, but no.
So we have two guests. Two speakers. One of them is from Intellias. Intellias is our partner, located in Krakow also. But another one is from Katowice.
And great journey.
And he's also user group leader as we are, but in Katowice. So it is not very far from...
If you don't know, it's Katowice Zdrój. It's a famous place when you can breathe a fresh air in the autumn in Krakow. You travel to Katowice and there's like impressive air quality. AWS Hero as well, right? Still there? Okay, good. Maria, and my name is Maciej. We want to welcome you. If you need anything from the organization perspective, if you want to whine about something, or you want to say that beer wasn't good or pizza wasn't cold enough, warm enough, then we are here.
So let's start.
Yeah, let's start. You want this mic or that mic or this? Oh, okay.
Just came in to thank you for the invitation. I'm surprised to be in such a cozy environment here, and hello, glad to see all of you, glad to be here, and thank you for coming, for joining this evening. Thank you AWS User Group KRK for organizing this event with us. I personally find that meetups like this are a great opportunity to exchange opinions, to geek out, to expand your network, and finally to talk about what's changing in these technologies which are extremely fast now. So, for those of you who don't know who we are yet, Intellias, I promise I'll be quick. So, global technology solutions provider with approximately 3,000 engineers on board worldwide, creating solutions for innovative clients from US, UK, Europe, and Japan, in domains like mobility, healthcare, retail, fintech, and solution platforms. In Poland, we are since 2019. Krakow, we are in Fabryczny Office Park. You can find us also in Warsaw, Łódź, and Wrocław. Almost 500 amazing talents are here at Intellias Poland. What's important for us, of course, is people. So we create environment where you can have impact on project which you are working on, which matters in terms of growth, professional development, and just enjoying working in your team. Honestly, I'm in this company for many years already. That also fits very well my personal experience. And final word, we are growing, we are hiring. So if you're curious about our projects, about our opportunities, please chat with my colleague Carolina, and we would love to continue discussions after the tech talks with you. And with that, I pass the word to Volodymyr, Volo,
Yeah,
DevOps
thank you.
architect at Intellias.
Yeah, hello everyone. Make some noise. So glad to see everyone here. And today's talk, I will start with something that maybe some of you already face it. Maybe some of you already did something like this. But in any case, it's some kind of horror story about how to operate something inside the legacy environments, something inside the enterprise-wide environments. I will not tell you about the career customers or something like that, but for sure, I will tell you about the constraints, about the issues and pain in my what is that? What is that, and what is this talk about? This talk about is how I migrated an application that is running exact live users that paying for subscription and expected that this app is working fine, and we need to migrate it. Why we need to migrate? Because company that is decided to purchase this mobile app, huge enterprise, decided to purchase this mobile app that is working about 10 years already. And I was a person that is responsible for exact moving this from a non-documented, non-infrastructure as a code account to some governed and secure place in enterprise located in enterprise located account of the customer. And who am I? Because I'm started to talk about this thing that I wanted to migrate, but who am I? And I am the person who is responsible for moving some stuff anywhere. And yeah, I accepted the kind of this call out and started to make things since already 10 years ago. And what is that right now? So what we have today, everyone thinking that we already migrated everything, that we are modern, that we are already decided that everything is already secure, everything is already established, and everything is ready basically for everyday use. But as I explained already, that there is still legacy code that lives somewhere, and you may be the next one that participated in some migration. But what exactly this means? Migration itself is a legacy code, what we name as a legacy. The legacy is something that we cannot understand, yes? So something that we cannot manage, that, or maybe we don't really clearly understand the outcomes and how it works. But let's talk about that, and about the pain, about the effort, about the scary stories. So let's start about it. So what we get as someone who responsible for some scary migration. Scary migration is something that you can even start doing tomorrow, but this legacy can be even AI generated code. It can be 10 years ago developed code that nobody updates, nobody supports, and nobody even touched it since then. And I'm exactly the person who decided to touch it. And this exactly story about this. So what we exactly achieved in the first point, we have no infrastructure code, we have no infrastructure documentation or how app behaves. We have no CI/CD, we have nothing to rely on. And what we have in the end is that we have everything in place, and we need to handle all the things correctly in governed manner and enterprise ready. So And here here we have the start of the scary story. So scary story started not from what you have as an app, or what you have that is exactly piece that you need to migrate. It started about planning. So planning here is the only thing that when you know how AWS works, when you know that everything that you can set up is pretty straightforward. So you already know that you need to establish dev account, you need to establish UAT environment, production environment, or whatever. But is it really something and that's all that you need to have? I don't think so. So this is exactly the pain. We have this issue that is not predicted from the beginning. And this issue is started to begin from, we already established kind of a plan for migration. We already established a thing how we migrated. But exact thing about setup of new infrastructure is not the point where everything ends, because only points that you can predict is only 30% of overall work that need to be done to migrate something that you doesn't aware how it behaves, how it works, and how to exactly operate with all of the nuances of this application, or not only application, but also dependencies of this application that is not documented. What we exactly built. So based on that, we have few of our accounts. So we have one account that is located on legacy US West environment. So it's US West region. And we built in new enterprise level and governed account. We built 5 accounts that is interconnected, and also service account that is handling all the needs that is distributed across all of them and governed together. So this exactly the thing that we built about 17 models. We built about 8 CI/CD pipelines for repos, and this was built everything from scratch. But as I said, it's only 30%, so it's not something that is really matter here. And the main goal is to make it work. So we did it in the first phase, but then we understand that application on the new infrastructure is not working the same as it works on the old legacy environment, even if the code is not changed. And in the first place, what we need to consider is how we need to provide and estimate the effort when you working with huge enterprises. In huge and governed environments and huge enterprises, you need to submit a ticket for any action you need to perform. And this action, even new permissions that you need to provide for any resources or any adjustments for any kind of action that is application need to perform for actions inside the backend, inside the front end application side, and the rest of the things. And since from the beginning, as I said, we didn't aware because nothing was documented. And when you face this issue that nobody told you how it works, but you can predict about something that you need to make these tickets in advance. So what does it mean? Maybe there is not a tickets from kind of different environments, but usually it is. And if you can make tickets for submitting the access in advance, do this, because in another case, you will wait as I am for a lot of time for approval of these tickets, for adjustment of these tickets, and for rest of the things that to just check that this is working fine or not. And this was the first lesson. So next lesson is exact how enterprise build their models. So we have corporate models that exactly have a lot of things already parameterized, a lot of things that is already modularized ready for use. But for this specific application, this is not something that we can just land on these models and make it work. Some of the models by intention have some issues, and these issues is not something that you can just rely on. And instead of forking the existing models, it's better to always wrap it. It's the same when you work with CDK, when you work with any Pulumi items, or it's not depends. So you should not be a maintainer of the models that is not developed not by you. So you can always rely on something and wrap it according to your needs. On my specific kind of case scenario, when I went for one of the models and I saw their exact parameters that have no input and you cannot provide it. So this model cannot be used. And this is exactly the first lesson. So if you have any new enterprise, and this enterprise or company, maybe you have already a company that you are working in, and one of your colleague is already established some models that you can be reused. Of course, we can communicate with this colleague and ask him to maybe you can fix the issue or provide me adjustment for that. But it's not really quite possible in huge enterprises when you just a seasoned worker for some specific project. So great lesson for that is if you face issues like that, and it's not needed to be decided after, you can always rely on this rule that's helped me to establish all of related models to this project without any issue and save me a lot of time. And another thing, so previous infrastructure was running on EC2 instances, and these instances having different behavior of the network that currently changed when we decided to move it to more advanced infrastructure. So we are using Fargate, and Fargate, as you know, are working on AWS VPC mode instead of bridge mode that EC2 instances is working, and have quite a better picture for how network is working there. And what is this difference? So in AWS VPC mode, we have more advanced elastic network interfaces that is directly assigned to the resources there. And we have noticed a difference here. So the difference was that on original application setup where legacy was landed, we have code that we not aware how this code is working, and this code do an updates in the RDS database, and this code is exactly working differently in the new setup. Why? Because when it fires to update some entities in the RDS database, in the new Fargate environment, because of the improved network, we receive it much faster response when exact updates is already landed. So this fix is quite easy. So we just fix and make one line just to avoid all promises. Promises is for exact how to explain, waiting for all updates to come together. So because previously it was just fire and forget, and afterwards we changed it to wait of this update. But in general, this is pretty interesting case. It can just be a little bit different for your scenarios because it's just an example, but you need to estimate when you migrate something that you're not aware. And this case can take a lot of different time when it can scale, because this specific scenario is only one, but you can have a diff and you can have a lot of scenarios like this. And when you plan a migration of any legacy, even if it's already on AWS doesn't mean that it's modern and doesn't mean that it works the same, even if the code is not changed. So, and you already know that, and AWS gives you a lot of possibilities to eliminate and make the access distributed correctly across all of the environments. So all of the environments have, as you know, CCPs and recipes and basically resource control policies, service control policies that you can manage, you can control, and as well, you can adjust any of the IAM rules correctly. So you for sure will be aware that your application environments will not interact with each other. Okay, this is fine. But you need to also care about how your app, that is possibly you're not aware how it works, is working with external services. So we need to remember that when app leaves the AWS, it can behave differently. In this app, we have a lot of different external services for managing customers. Because as I said in the beginning, we have customers that is paying for subscription using mobile apps. And for that exact service, we have CleverTap, we have Revenue Cat, we have Stripe, we have different adjusted models that interact with this in simple manner. So basically, simple manner we have here as an ID increment for the new users. So when you have existing application, when you have existing database and existing legacy infrastructure, it works the same. But when you copy this legacy application in your even pre-production environment, it starts to behave in the same way, but you have a concurrency, split brain that interacting with external services. It will be full isolation on AWS level. It will be properly isolated from your, of course, different legacy environment and different lower environments. But when it comes to external communication with any services, you cannot protect it, but you can predict it. And this is something that you need to include in your estimate when you migrate these things like that. And this is one of the lessons that was resolved, and exact things can happen with you, even if you're quite an expert in AWS itself. And how everything is working there. So basically, we have a lot of different scenarios how we test the application. And application was not only tested in the first place, but even if you test it correctly and integration test runs well, you have a lot of different things that can go wrong, and in exact testing is go live. So when you decide a better plan for going live inside of the AWS environments, you can notice that you need to have some adjustment on application level, but you have an application that was not updated about 10 years already. And for that case, we need to go straight forward for migration using DMS service, using proper DNS switching, and using proper integration and synchronization between the accounts, because in the mobile app, for sure, you can have not only the database, you can have S3 buckets that need to be properly synced. You have as well RDS database that is working and currently active. And you have, as I said, working users that paying for subscription and expect that this app will work fine without any issues. And based on that, even if you migrate everything correctly based on your plan, you can face an issue that, for example, during the live cutover, you can notice an issue that even previously established pools for RDS databases is working, is not the same as on legacy environment. And what does it mean? This means that when you just gradually create a new pools for the new services inside the existing environment, it just grows. But growth is not becoming just in one point of failure. This growth becomes just tech debt, or something can be named like this. So when you migrate the app that have already a dozen of pools that is communicating with RDS, you can face the issue of max connection. And this exact issue happened during the migration window. So when we migrate this exact application, we face it with that. But how to predict it? Of course, we can set a lot of replicas, but there is straight concern about doing such kind of things. And one of the things that you can do in this case is just adjust, of course, max connection in the live cutover to just stabilize the application in initial startup time. But of course, it can be predicted by proper sizing and proper configuration of RDS environment. But if you have sizing constraints, if you have a budgeting constraints, or something that is blocking you from making decisions, you can always calculate this load based on how app can even interact with any of infrastructure components. And if you at least spend time, even if you're not exactly estimated for doing so, for some simple integration tests, it will help you, not depending on which app you migrated, to just save your time and save your ass from everything that can happen inside of this cutover window. And in the end, so if we just thinking about how to do everything is differently. So scary story is basically based on how we handle the things. And the things here is to how we need to just approach with any legacy migration that can happen with you or with anything else. So we need to, in the first place, audit any third-party tool, even if you're not aware completely about how to do this with this legacy application, because our thing and our first dependency was that legacy tool like CleverTap or any external services that helping to track this application or making payments or whatever is need to be analyzed and estimated, because it have different types of the keys, and it will help you to prevent split brains or anything else in advance. And of course, if you have a limited access to it, it will be a good sign for you to just tell your customer, please provide me with this thing, and otherwise we will not go any further. And as I mentioned, from creation of service tickets and support tickets, if you're working with huge enterprises and you're basically focused on deliver something in isolated environments, and you're regulated by some internal regulations or anything like that, set up these things in advance, because it can save you time from everything that can be just waiting for someone to provide you with access or whatever. And the next thing is to, instead of forking the models, instead of doing something that like become a maintainer of some code that you are not created before, just wrap it and make things work on you. And this will help you and save you time in the time when you're constrained with time and estimates. And the next thing, as I said on previous slide, do the basic integration test and do it from the beginning. It can save you time, and especially when black box legacies or anything that is working unexpectedly. And today we have a lot of different things that people set up, and even developers, managers or whatever started to code and wipe code, doing the things that you cannot predict. And of course, you can be the next one who just onboard the new application that is developed by these AI tools on legacy. You can name it like legacy for you as well. And these tools can become for you such a thing that I described just right now. And this thing in huge enterprises can prevent you from failing, from preventing you at least from having any issues for a long time. And of course, this can save you not only from the overloaded estimations, but also save you from pain. And what to remember here in this case, so for this scenario, of course, not everything was well detailed, but if we have any migration, if we have any kind of preparation of the architecture of application that you're not aware, that have no documentation, that have no basic forms of how to interact with it, plan 30% for things that you know. So basically, if you know everything about AWS, that's fine. It's your 30%. But for the rest of the things, especially that is going wrong and unpredictably, estimate this thing about additional 70%. Because currently things are becoming not really clear and not really predictable. And for unpredicted things, especially it can be in legacy, it can be another unpredicted code, it can save you from things that you overwork without any proper estimation on how and when it will be done. And this is basically all for today. And if you have any questions, because I think that for this small amount of time, and especially with regulations that I cannot exact answer or tell you about specifics of the project, maybe you have any questions that is interested from you that I can try to answer a little bit more detailed way.
Do you have any questions? All right, let's wait a second. I need to find a mic, or you're loud enough? All right.
Double time, what does it mean? No, we don't have any downtime because this was a main requirement from enterprise, that they didn't want to spend a time on building a proper way of migration. Because in the first place, I suggested to build a way that when you can switch on and say to the users that your application will be maintained in maintenance mode. So basically, it's development of maintenance mode. But this requires additional code changes that need to be pushed to legacy environment. Basically, you need to update existing application that is already on App Store and in the stores. It can be not even mobile application. It can be different applications. So basically, you need to touch the legacy code to onboard a new feature. And this was prevented. So we decided to make things a little bit different. And these things is exact what we developed here. So instead of making a downtime just to move everything, we decided a cutoff hour. Cutoff hour happened in specific time that we decided and prepared customers of this application via CleverTap. We notified that in specific time, this application will be downtimed. Not downtimed for in general, but downtimed like in maintenance mode. And in this time, we just lowered the TTL of DNS. So basically, all the requests started to have kind of a little bit slower for the users, even somebody still using the application. But when we already have established a new account, we have at least a small time to switch the DNS to the new environment, to the new account, and with already backed up and current revision of the database, and in only specific amount of time. So basically, about 5 minutes, we have a cutoff window when we don't just eliminate connections to the old legacy RDS, and we migrated we just came up and move all the connections to the new DNS, not new DNS, to the new API gateway that is located in the new account. Of course, you can honestly answering to your question, yeah, there is a small downtime, but for users, there is almost nothing to happen because everything after that working fine as nothing changes. But moving forward about that. So previously, customer have no infrastructure as a code, no policies, single account, and after that, customer achieve it from us and governed environment based on customer models, enterprise models in Terraform, well configured, well managed via permissions and JSONs that if via tickets that we established, so granular access and everything was established correctly. And for users, nothing changes. But can it be? Can this sound as achievement? Maybe not for everyone, but when you understand that you migrated the black box, this is exactly that can be kind of war win or something like that. So thank you.
Thanks. And
to which slide?
Hello. Oh,
Tak.
no, to this previous, please. Once again. No, next. Where you showed like you migrated 50 gigabytes of MySQL dump. I think it's next one. The next one. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So
this basically is a thing that mobile application have a possibility to upload images. So basically, it's wellness application that is protected with HIPAA kind of regulation rules. So it's based in the US for US users. And this is exact about 15 gigabytes of existing uploaded by users images. And I assume that you wanted to ask how you migrated so fast, so much content during the cutover time, yeah, or something like that.
yeah, I mean, S3, yes, but also MySQL dump. So I didn't understand. So you mentioned MySQL dump, but you also mentioned RDS migration. So, oh, DMS,
Yeah.
sorry, DMS. So
Yes,
what tool
exactly.
do you use?
Exactly the thing. So DMS is designed for greenfields migrations. But as I already said, we have a legacy, that is working currently, and already existing database with already existing content that we created for pre-production. So in pre-production environment, we have a MySQL database that is based on RTS. And and existing legacy environment is located on different region, that is US West, and we need to migrate this data to US East firm. And to migrate it, we use a DMS, and DMS creates a new, basically new database, an RDS database. But to integrate this backup that we migrated via DMS, we just make an SQL dump and then import this dump that we achieved via DMS into existing database to prevent the downtime or something that it can cause by data loss, or just creating the new database to prevent it, because we already have there some new things that is done via via admin panel, that new configuration of something that is exact customers wanted to make before go live with new version of application that is pointing to the new infrastructure.
And what about S3? How did you migrate it?
Via S3 Sync. So basically, when you have an account, and this account is already contains 15 gigabyte of user data, doesn't matter which data it is. So in our case, this is just images. It's images of people who upload these images into application, and these images is assigned to each of the accounts. And of course, we can assume that these images is not changed. So basically, new images can only appear, and we can migrate existing images, just pre-migrate before the cutoff window. And then when we lower the TTL of the DNS and we switch the DNS and we just disable it, schedule it jobs or whatever is running on the legacy environment, we can just run additional incremental sync in the cutoff window, and we don't need to wait when 15 gigabytes of data will be transferred, and it's just 1 minute to just sync additional 1 or 2, let's say, photos, and we can just move forward. Something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the little one had a question there. Let's check what he have to say. Now you're silent, huh? Now you're silent, little one. All right. So anybody have a question? Oh, perfect. I've been just behind, like close to you. Here.
Your infrastructure is fully covered by infrastructure as code, or you still have some manual steps like to switch something?
Of course, if we're talking about infrastructure itself, so like secrets, like a lot of different stuff, we have basically a lot of different things there. Original application infrastructure was created via Amplify. So Amplify is something that you cannot directly manage via infrastructure as a code. And we need to create something that we can manage. And something that we can manage is also need to be covered by existing enterprise models on the customer side. And these models provide us something like Cognito separately SD bucket, separately pinpoint for authentication of the app, and RDS, a lot of different things. But of course, we have a pipelines because we need to deliver a code somehow. And as well, we have a Lambda that is responsible for example, payment webhook, because we have a Stripe that is need to receive payment for subscriptions for specific kind of scenarios of user. And I don't know how to how to name it in this case, manual step, or can we name it like a manual step or not? But everything, if it's not covered completely by infrastructure as a code, models, and customized parameters and variables, we have CI/CD. Basically, this CI/CD was established in GitLab, private GitLab managed inside the AWS itself, and everything that can be automated is automated. But just a good question about that. So of course, there is nothing remains that need to be configured right now or managed manually. But during the testing and during the things that first integration tests, I noticed one important caveat, and this issue is something like that previous developers, I don't know who it was, so basically they integrated, they created the migrations via Knex migrations inside the existing database. And when you migrate this database to the new environment, you can run existing documented in the code migrations, and record about this migration will not appear in the database itself. And you need to create this record if this table already exists, or you need to delete this record to just recreate it completely in the new environment. And basically, this is one of the things that is need to be managed manually, but before the migration, because when you already migrated the application, it's a new environment, you already can have everything managed via in the first place, as I said, infrastructure, next CI/CD pipelines, and the third, you already clearly understand that all migrations that is listed in backend repo, for example, where you have all of these migrations just described, is exact migrations that you run against your existing environment. Something like that.
Thank you. And one more question about security. After migration, did you pass any security audit to make sure that everything is?
Yeah, as I mentioned on the presentation itself, there is a so basically this application was developed in old good 2018, and since then nobody updated it. It's working fine. So basically it's made on Node.js, just noted then. Basically Android application was made on some 16 version of Android. It's already 10 years old with all dependencies and a lot of backend dependencies, not pipeline, application dependencies, even how which base images it used, and in internal dependencies the code used have a lot of vulnerabilities. And this was scanned via SNCC in the first place. So we have a tenable one that is handled original infrastructure and dependencies and the most critical points. And we have a SNCC that is scanning all the repos and everything that we even adjusted during the migration. We have CrowdStrike that is can find any workloads. It says the ECS and tasks that can misbehave or may be variable. And as well, we have a Spectral that we established for the new commits and for the new application development that prevent application to just working not really correctly or integrate new vulnerabilities there. But in general, we don't have a clear requirement to update all of the dependencies and all of the CVEs and or something. But we have a time to cover at least critical CVEs during the migration and exact what I said about custom roles and resource roles and everything related to it, the limited application where it can be misbehave differently with IAM limitations or any kind of firewall limitations that we just only elevate some basic stuff that we understand is needed for API interaction with mobile application on the user side. and everything else, like our own infrastructure and internal dependencies, are protected via security tools and governed zero trust policies.
Thank you. Last small question. How many time and how many people was involved to migrate from old to new environment?
Basically, yes, a mic drop. And this was me. And we have as well a backend developer, front-end developer, mobile application developer for the Swift application. So this for iOS, for Android separately. But for most of the things, starting from creation of the new infrastructure, writing the models, wrap the models, creation of the security findings, adjusting CVs, and final cutoff and rollout, this was me.
One-man show, good one.
Yeah.
Any questions? All right, wait a second. Wait, because the internet people will not hear you, you know?
Yeah, maybe if someone
No, I
wanted.
just wanted to ask how much time did it take? Because you mentioned how many people, but what was like the
Yeah,
timeline for?
yeah, that's an interesting question because overall this presentation was about that somebody make a decision that overall is not from our side. So basically, people understand. This is why I raised this issue for everyone here. People understand that if application is already on AWS, it's easy peasy to just migrate it to the new environment or a new account. So we didn't change the code. Yes. So what is the problem to migrate the application? No problems. So it was estimated, let's say, in 100 hours. And this is it. But actual hours that was spent on this initiative, including the things that we need to wait for the people, we need to wait for the customer dependencies, we need to security approvals, additional changes and challenges that we faced on different application misbehavior that we was not aware. We spent in general in timeline about 6 months to fully migrate application without any issues and without impacting the users.
Thanks. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much. Hey, a little applause for this guy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. And we will make a little break, okay? Just if you can move to that. So please scan this. There is a pool where you can answer some questions. And on the end, our fellows will give you this lovely presents, gadgets. So it's worth to do it. In the meantime, we'll make like 5 minutes break, up to 7 minutes, 7.5 maybe for a short beer. There's still some pizza, so don't hesitate. Answer some questions. And the next one, like the most important, get some alcohol because we will talk about .NET. So right, everybody needs to prepare for .NET on AWS with Wojtek. So just a little break. Dziękuję ci pięknie. we can share comments about the .NET after that, on AWS. That's going to be interesting comments. See that you're doing that. Perfect. All right, thank you very much. So we will start another part of our meeting, but before that, thank you, Wojtek, for bringing this tab here. We're organizing small gig, like every year. This is time in 8th of September. We'll have a AWS Community Day, which is a massive meeting in Warsaw. Last time it was 700 people, right, Maria? Around 700, right? Yeah. 700 people, 3 tracks, super interesting people, 4 tracks, super interesting people from around the world, talking about AWS, talking about technology itself. It's for free. The place is some kind of limited, so please register as soon as possible. And yeah, it's a massive event, which it's worth to be, especially that it's organized by community to community. Okay, so we have open call for papers. So if you want to talk on that stage, on the big stage in Multikino in Warsaw, which is super nice because the screen is, I don't know, like 7 meters high, and it's really nice stage, just apply. You will be considered, and if your subject will be super cool, then we will take care of you and guide you through the whole process. I think you're ready to talk about this marvelous subject. I'm really curious. I know that you already learned your lesson about it, right? Perfect. Check if it works.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, perfect. So I'm shutting
Nice.
myself up. Wojtek Dąbrowski.
Okay. Wszystko się psuło.
Should I dance? Should I dance? Okay, I will dance a little bit. Don't worry, Wojtek. Actually, it was my fault because I asked him to go to the last slide on his presentation, and everything was massively prepared, right?
Okay, Maciej, thank you.
You
for
ready?
the introduction. Yeah, I am ready.
Right,
Let's gather here. Okay. If you take a look at almost every framework and language popularity ranking in AWS, so taking, for example, popularity ranking of frameworks in containers in AWS, .NET is on the very last place. The first place in this case is Node.js. The second is Java. The second very popular type of running software in the modern world is serverless. And in case of Lambda, it's also almost on the end. Only Ruby is after that. But on the other hand, if you take popularity rankings of languages in the world, so for example, TIOBE index, C# is on the 5th place. But in this ranking, we have also C and C++, which are not cloud languages to use. Maybe the better example, the GitHub ranking, where you just take almost every repository in GitHub. You see that C# is also on a very, very good position. But here you have also Bash and Shell and SQL and HTML. So we can say that C# is a very popular language, but it's not very good adopted in AWS. So the third point is to say that .NET adoption on AWS is low. But on this presentation, I want to show you that the support of AWS of .NET is not weak. these two things are very different. My name is Wojtek Dąbrowski, and in my career, I held multiple roles. I started as a software engineer, as a .NET software engineer, very surprised. I held the roles of technical lead, solution and cloud architect in multiple companies, product companies, software houses, consulting, and so on and so on. And right now I am working in Northfield Bank, where I am the platform tech lead. And almost every example in this presentation will be from the real world, and it will be from the Northfield Bank. So I will tell you more about it through the presentation. I have some certifications also, and Maciej introduced me as a Katowice user group leader, AWS Katowice. And you are very welcome. It's not very far from here. And also I'm AWS Hero. So, does any of you use the .NET in your life? Quite few. Okay, but here will be the very short introduction of .NET platform itself. Everything started in 2002 when Microsoft founded .NET Framework, and .NET Framework was created as a platform to create desktop, console, and web applications. But the case was it could be only run on the Windows servers and Windows operating system. Everything changed in 2015 when Microsoft introduced .NET Core, and the main change was it has become the multi-platform framework that could be run on the macOS and Linux operating systems. And after that, Microsoft decided to rebrand the .NET once again, and from 2020, it just became as plain .NET. And .NET Core and .NET Framework were deprecated, and it is the present time. Okay, the whole presentation is divided in 3 chapters actually. The first one, the modern path. So how do we create the modern applications in cloud and using .NET? The second one with the legacy path, and the third one will be about infrastructure as a code. Actually, I have some prompts in the presentation to you, and don't hesitate to ask questions right away. So if anything is not clear, you can just throw the question. Okay, if I would ask you, what is the modern compute model right now? What are we using to run applications in cloud right now? What would you choose? Yes, very good. But let's be serious. Yeah, it's about how to create applications in the model. But when it comes to the deployment model, so containers, for example, yeah, Kubernetes. But the third one, the most popular, is probably the serverless. And you can agree or not, but a lot of workloads are in serverless. But when you hear serverless, what is one of the big pains in serverless? Yes, cold start. There are a lot of pros and cons, but cold start is one of them. And in this chapter, I want to show you that AWS supports very good .NET when it comes to optimizing cold starts. I think almost everyone knows about the cold starts and what it is. But let's wrap it. So serverless, of course, doesn't mean there are no servers behind. There are servers, but we are not managing them. And we have basically 2 states of our application. It can be cold started or warm started. Cold start means that there is no instance that is running right now that can run our code. and warm start means that there is an instance. And when it comes to cold start, you need to download your code, start a new container, and bootstrap the whole runtime. But when it comes to warm start, you are only running the code. And if you look at the rankings of cold starts and frameworks, you can see that C# actually is once again on the last position. Only Docker, the plain Docker that can be run on as an image, is worse. But the plot twist is that this ranking is from 2022, so before the major improvements when it comes to cold starts in .NET. So the first one, the first mechanism that can be used almost specifically to .NET is snap start. Snap start means that we are actually not bootstrapping the whole environment from the scratch. Every time we need to create our instance to serve the request, but instead of that, we are creating the snapshot of our environment when we are creating the new version of AWS Lambda. So we are creating the whole environment on the deployment time and not in the runtime. And then we are caching the snapshot of this environment. And when we need to serve the request in the cold start state, we are just restoring the snapshot from the cache instead of bootstrapping the whole environment from the beginning. If you compare that in this request lifecycle and comparison between the cold start and warm start, this one on the top is actually the same one from the previous slide, when we have to initiate the whole environment by create execution environment, download code, start runtime, and initialize function code. But when it comes to request lifecycle in snapstart, we are just resuming the snapshot from the cache. So it improves the time very good. The second one that is okay, and what is the nice part here? The snap start mechanism is not available for every runtime, AWS Lambda runtime, but only to some specific ones. And it is available for .NET and for Python and for Java. Okay, the second one, native AOT, and it is actually more interesting because native AOT is the internal mechanism in .NET to build the package in a very specific way. What does it mean? Let's say in the traditional type of deployment, we have the C# code at the beginning, and the C# code is compiled to the common intermediate language. The common intermediate language is the thing in .NET framework that can be run on the virtual machine of .NET. And actually, we don't need to use C# to create applications in .NET framework. So, for example, we can use F#, Visual Basic. We can also use C++ to create the code for the .NET framework, and it will be compiled to intermediate language, and this intermediate language will be run on the virtual machine using just-in-time method. So this will be compiled in the runtime to the native code. Okay, but when it comes to ahead of time, on the contrary, the C# code will be compiled to intermediate language, but in the compilation time and packaging time, it will be deployed. It will be compiled to the native code on the compilation time and packaging time. So the final package in AWS Lambda will be deployed as a native code instead of the common intermediate language. And how does it improve the whole thing? We are not the .NET virtual machine will not compile the code to the native code, but instead of that, run the native code as itself. And actually, this thing is not even related to AWS Lambda. It's internal .NET stuff. But the very good thing is that it is implemented by AWS Lambda and used in the .NET framework, .NET runtime. Okay, the next thing is very good when it comes to creating modern applications in .NET in AWS. Is very good coverage in NuGet packages. NuGet packages are the same thing from the .NET, like npm to JavaScript, for example. So this is basically the package manager. But what's the deal here? It's not very very big deal that we have, for example, the package for using S3. It's basic stuff. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the support of. Is it readable? Yeah, I think so. I'm talking about the support of internal AWS packages into internal C# mechanism. This piece of code is configuring reading the configuration using very native C# and .NET type of reading the chain of configuration. So you can read the configuration, for example, from JSON files for environment variables. But what's very interesting, AWS supports reading using the same method, reading the configuration, for example, from appconfig and from systems manager. So this is very, very good from the developer experience point of view, because in other case you will need to write the spaghetti code to just to read the configuration, but instead of that, AWS supports the native type of reading the configuration. Okay, do you have any questions to this point, to the modern path? Okay, so the legacy path. So every one of you probably knows that this doesn't work. Probably knows that every application and every company that is generating the profit need to support the previous customers and previous versions of applications, for example. And in case of North Mill, the North Bank has been founded in 2006, and from that point, needed to provide the profit because it wasn't financed from for example, venture capitals. So it needed to generate the profit from day zero. And what is the consequence of that? The consequence of that is that it needed the application needed to evolve instead of, for example, code freeze or doesn't work for some period of time. And actually, this piece of code is the real example of the application that is working right now. And you can see things like that. For example, on the top, It uses MS Build schema from 2003 and using the .NET Framework 4.6.2. That is the type of framework that was on the beginning of the timeline, if you saw that. So this actually is the application that was created from in the beginning, but it evolved through all of those years. And at the beginning, it was built using C#, ASP.NET, and .NET Framework, the original ones. And at some point, we needed to deploy it to some cloud. Do you have any idea what cloud could it be? Yeah, it was Azure. It is not very surprised that it was Azure. But everything changed actually in 2015 when we decided to migrate everything to AWS. This is not the very good place of discussing why, but it happened. So I think there are some guys that are very experienced with the AWS, and if you needed to migrate those stack from Azure to AWS, you could use some service. And what is this service? What? Yes, I heard that. Yes, that's true. It's probably one of the most hated AWS services in some point. Because there are a lot of questions of Elastic Beanstalk of certification exams in some point. And I understand the hating behind that, but I am quite fan of this service because it provided us some value, because it wrapped the whole deployment and the whole management of EC2 instances, and it just worked for us. But once again, everything changed in 2021 when AWS introduced ECS Windows containers for AWS Fargate. And with this announcement, we could use Docker and ECS Fargate to deploy our Windows-based workloads. So the traditional .NET Framework-based applications using the modern components. And I'm sure you are very familiar with Docker files, but so we will not run through it, but I will show you some very interesting aspects using Windows containers. So first of all, we are using the base image as a Windows server, which is very exotic when it comes to Docker. But look at that. We are using PowerShell syntax instead of Bash, so which is very interesting when it comes to Docker files. And what we are doing right here, actually, we are installing log monitor at the beginning of the image. Why? Because this application, this is Windows service actually, which forwards the application logs to standard stream, and for that CloudWatch can be used to monitor the log applications in the Windows services. So without that, the application logs would not be visible in CloudWatch. So this is very interesting. And at the entry point, which points to C log monitor, and C service monitor, it is very exotic too. When it comes to infrastructure, it's a piece of code that creates infrastructure for our ECS Fargate service using Windows containers. And actually, there is some magic here, but it shows that we can use the Fargate Fargate type of ECS and runtime platform Windows Server. And another interesting thing, it uses, for example, health check as SPX, which is very traditional endpoint for .NET applications. Okay, AWS introduced also AWS Transform during the last rain event, and AWS Transform is AI-based service that can actually re-platform our application from the old .NET framework to .NET Core, or just the newest .NET. And to be honest, we were not using that because most of the workloads are migrated already in our case. But if we wanted to use it, it is not supported in EU West 1 region. So probably the most popular region actually in our part of world. But I heard some very good opinions about that from the colleagues from consulting industry. Okay, any questions when it comes to the legacy path so far? Okay.
The question is, why .NET on Windows?
Sorry?
Can you use on Linux?
No.
Not. There is no support.
I showed the timeline for the
Okay.
.NET evolution. The first one, .NET, which was funded in 2002, was only possible to run on Windows operating system.
Okay, so this is from the perspective of how it developed. Okay.
Yeah. Of course, the good idea is to replatform the old .NET to the newer one, but in some cases it's not possible because there are some types of applications that cannot be ported to .NET Core or .NET. But it's a different topic. So yeah. And the third part, infrastructure as a code on AWS. I showed you already the example of code of infrastructure as a code of cloud formation. And it looks like that. Don't read it. It's pointless. But the question is, do we have any of you that are identifying as software engineers or software developers? I identify. Okay, there are some. So, do you think it's code? Because I don't think so. The code doesn't look like that. The configuration file, this is YAML file or JSON file, for example, but it's not the code. Let's be serious. So I want to show you the infrastructure as a code on the AWS using C# actually, and probably most of you are just right now knows what I want to show you. AWS Cloud Development Kit or AWS CDK in short. And actually, AWS CDK is just a wrapper for cloud formation, and it looks like that we can write our CDK application as a code, for example, in C# or Java or Python or TypeScript, and then the code is transformed to CloudFormation templates, and CloudFormation templates are deployed to our account. Easy as that. If you take a look of the very example solution in C# in almost every there is some entry point. So for example, API in our case, and some other libraries that are just related to this entry point. And in ideal world, we would want to just include our infrastructure code right here in the project. So for example, in the separate folder, separate project environments, or infrastructure, or you name it. And using the CDK, we can do that and see the environment or infrastructure code together with our business code, which is realizing the business logic. This is the example of defining the CloudFormation stack in CDK. And it works like that. You need to define the class, and inside the class, you have the constructor. So if any of you were using the objective programming languages, probably knows how does it work. And in the constructor, we are creating new objects of classes that we want to introduce in our AWS CloudFormation stack. And to describe you how the CDK works and why it is a very powerful tool, I need to introduce you some ideas in CDK, and one of those ideas are constructs. So CDK introduces constructs, and the constructs can be level 1, level 2, and level 3. In level 1 construct, you just have, this is the example of CloudFormation, and we will show it how to define it in CDK. So for level 1 construct, we are just defining the object that has almost everything one-to-one from the CloudFormation, which is not very useful actually, because this is the same, but written in the C# code. But we are gaining a lot more in next construct levels. So take this example of S3 bucket that has versioning configuration enabled, encryption algorithm, and blocked all access, all public access. And if we want to define it in AWS CDK using level 2 construct, we can only write things like that. So we are using the abstraction that is created by AWS, where we are just using some type of enumeration and choose the correct one of our choice. And it's much better and much more readable than writing everything from the scratch in the YAML file. But it's not the end. The level 3 constructs are the most sophisticated type of constructs, and they are wrapping the whole solutions in AWS. So, for example, this is the very popular architecture, very plain architecture of creating microservice in AWS using ECS Fargate and application load balancer. And if you need to create such a thing, you need to define some boilerplate code in your, for example, YAML file and CloudFormation file. But when it comes to using the CDK to create that, we can use just the ready construct application load balancer Fargate service, which creates everything that is needed to create the whole application, the whole setup under the hood. So this is encapsulated in this class, and if we need to create this whole architecture, we need to only call the constructor and just choose our settings to define the whole architecture, the whole infrastructure. And you can say it's not bad. It's quite useful, but it's not the point in my presentation. I want to show you how do we use it in Northern Bank. And it is not only using the ready constructs. So for example, level 2 or level 3, but we are more than that. You can also define your own constructs. So, for example, you can create level 2 or level 3 constructs and share it in your organization, for example, using NuGet packages or NPM packages and so on. And we are using this like this. So, for example, if you are creating your own bucket that will be created in your business teams, you can preset some of the settings, like the encryption key and say that bucket key is also always enabled. It's very important when it comes to our industry because everything needs to be secure. And in the implementation of the construct as itself, you can, for example, validate the properties that are passed into the constructor. So you can check if, for example, you can check if the encryption key is present. If not, the creation of the bucket will be denied. And when it comes to usage, you are just using the created constructor, and just create the object of this class. Some more complex example is, in our case, for example, defining the .NET function in CDK. Because if you are creating, for example, Python AWS Lambda function, you just package the whole code and upload it to S3 bucket, and you are done actually. But when it comes to .NET, you need to prepare the whole building process to compile the code, to package that, and upload in the correct manner. So, for example, if we are using our own construct, we can define, for example, that in the whole organization we are using only one runtime and the correct architecture of running AWS Lambda. And we will not go through the whole command that is used to package the AWS Lambda function, but it's fairly complex, and it would needed to be developed and maintained by every team as itself. But instead of that, we can package that in the NuGet package that is shared as a construct, and we can just share it through teams. And at the end, the usage of this construct is simple as that we are just creating the object of Northmid.NET function, and we are just passing for example, the path to the code of this Lambda. Of course, if you are a programmer, you can use design patterns for creating your own constructs. This is an example of using the builder pattern, if you are familiar with that, just to create every possible combination of parameters and every possible combination of settings, creating your own task definition. And it's only the example. Only you can use every other programming technique that you are familiar with that to create your own constructs, and it's yeah. And what is not so far fun part in .NET? I will not show you every hard aspect, but take as an example, we can take AWS Lambda durable functions. Did you heard about that? Durable functions, okay? So it's not available for .NET, and actually we are asking our account manager if there are plans to introduce that, and probably not for the nearest future. So this is an example of not very good support. But the other one is, for example, using the open telemetry in .NET. It's also not prepared in any way from our point of view. Okay. So why do you even bother with .NET at the end? So as I said in the presentation, there was a .NET on the beginning in our company, and if you have existing customers and your application, your company is generating revenue, it's very risky and it's very expensive in some point to refactor and replatform the whole application. So, for example, rewrite the C# and .NET for example, I don't know, JavaScript or Node.js and so on. So this is very expensive choice and very risky choice. But you could say that, okay, so leave the legacy part in .NET or any other legacy runtime and create other new microservices in other runtimes or other languages. Then it's fair point. But if you are managing the whole platform in the company, you need to have the competing standards inside the company. So, for example, you need to define the whole deployment process for multiple runtimes. You need to have the talent inside your organization that is familiar with multiple runtimes and multiple languages, instead of just creating one base runtime and one specialization inside the company. And some points from my perspective, some traits of .NET as a backend runtime. So the strong typing and type safety is, from my perspective, very important. And .NET is fantastic in that. I don't imagine to create a bank in JavaScript, for example. So no offense to anyone. And .NET as a framework, .NET as a runtime, has a lot of cool features like asynchronously, concurrency, and is very mature for very complex systems and very big projects, and a lot of packages and a lot of solutions in .NET as itself are very mature. And when cold starts are in the bottleneck, and you are not very sensitive to cold starts, for example, .NET is very efficient when it starts warm or running in the containers, for example. And some key takeaways from this presentation: don't confuse adoption and support. Adoption of .NET in AWS is fairly low, and it's a fact, but the support is quite good, and we are actually the very good example of that. In modern AWS patterns, AWS is very good choice. And if actually I am a bit biased, of course, because I'm .NET developer, but if I would choose the runtime for my backend service that is written in AWS, for example, I will just go for .NET. And cold starts are very manageable when it comes to .NET, because the AWS introduced the very native types of the support for this problem. And CDK is a very cool stuff. There are a lot of actually the bad parts of CDK, but it's very broad topic, so not for this time maybe. And like I said, North Mill Bank, a few words of North Mill. It's actually a neobank. It's kind of Revolut, but we are operating mainly on Swedish market, and we are not specializing on currency exchange like Revolut, but other than that, on lending money. And actually, we have about 95% of our workloads that are written in C# and run on AWS. It's very exotic combination, actually. And we are hosting AWS User Group Silesia very often. And we are hiring, actually. And I am hiring to my team. So I see that someone are scanning. So maybe see you on the job interview. Some materials. Let's connect on LinkedIn if you have any questions, or if you need to want to connect. And there are slides from today's presentation. And Q&A.
All right.
Hi, I have a question regarding testing CDK. Do you test CDK code? And if so, do you have any tips, any techniques you could recommend for that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe some another words for that. So testing CDK is quite complicated thing, because in the standard code, you are just, for example, testing the business logic. In CDK, you would need to test, for example, the output CloudFormation files, and we are checking if some of the properties are present in the result CloudFormation. And it's a bit fishy for me. I'm not very big fan of testing CDK.
One question from me. I understand what you said about CDK, that on L2 and L3, it's supposed to be a lot better. And my question is, why even chose SDK rather than, typical CloudFormation or Terraform or any other platform? Like, I wouldn't think about anything other. So why was that?
So there are quite a few points. So first of all, you can share the common constructs between teams. So if you have, for example, in our case, we have 10 product teams, and we need to create one common pattern for deploying AWS Lambda, you have the choice of, for example, sharing deployment scripts, for example, with CloudFormation files. And there is no possibility to smart sharing the CloudFormation templates that are very reusable in multiple product contexts. So in our case, just CDK was just a very good way to share the common code. And we don't have the specific DevOps engineers or something like that. Everyone in our company is a software engineer. So AWS CDK is very near of our way of working.
Okay, thank you. So maybe one more question. Have you started with this decision to use CDK from the beginning, or it was rather a problem that you were using CloudFormation and you had this issue with sharing and stuff, and then you thought, okay, maybe let's find another solution?
No. We started using CloudFormation because CloudFormation was maybe not from the beginning, but CDK was founded, I think, 2020, something like that. But we were using infrastructure as a code before. So we just used CloudFormation in some point of our product development. There is a discussion between, for example, why didn't you choose Terraform, for instance? But we just did the decision. and CDK is actually the CloudFormation. So we are using that for some type of workloads. We are using CDK. For some type of workloads, we are using CloudFormation. But to be honest, I am not very big fan of CDK. I think the CloudFormation in very much cases is much simpler and much more readable and much more maintainable, because there are a lot of problems with creating and maybe not even creating, in updating and controlling the existing CDK stacks. There are some problems with recreation resources. For the naming resources is also a mess. So there are a lot of hard stuff in managing the CDK applications.
Okay, thank you.
All right, 2 questions. I will start from there to there, okay?
Thank you for the presentation. I also wanted to ask about why not to Terraform, and I also thought it's a problem, to share the modules, until I saw one approach from SRE team from our company. So they had some separate GitHub account with the Terraform modules, which you can include in your project, and you just pass by specific parameters, and there are like some if-else in this, so you can set up like different infrastructure based on parameters. But the second question, you mentioned so I understand that back in the days you migrated from Azure to AWS because I assume AWS had much more, everything. But what about nowadays? Did you check, does it make sense to migrate back? If not thinking about like cost, time, whatever, if you was able to put to Azure, does it make sense? Maybe it's like more native support because it's like Microsoft.NET and something else.
Okay, do you think I will say yes if I am AWS hero? Yeah, but
Don't be biased.
yeah, to be serious, the first question, when it comes to Terraform modules, yeah, it's 100% true. But we choose the CloudFormation, and our whole environment is written in CloudFormation. And like I said, the decision of changing the CloudFormation to Terraform at this point would be very, very costly, and from every point of view, actually. And CloudFormation for us actually is not a very big pain. It's okay. It serves us as well. When it comes to the second question, and to be serious this time, I don't think so, because I see AWS as a very mature platform, actually, the cloud platform, and AWS and .NET is really, really good supported in AWS. We are very satisfied to run our workflows in AWS, and frankly speaking, we were using at some point in the past, we were using at the same time Azure and AWS. And for example, we run some of the workloads on Azure as app services, for example, and some of workloads in AWS. By the way, the main reason why did we choose AWS over Azure was AWS Lambda service, because it was far better than Azure Functions those days when the decision was made. And what I'm trying to say, when we were using Azure and AWS in the same time, we, for example, saw that the infrastructure as a code solution in Azure was very immature. Same as with Azure CLI. It was not usable at all. So for us, the question, the answer was very easy. And frankly speaking, right now, I am not very up to date to Azure, but I don't see any possible arguments that Azure can be better than AWS.
Whoa, sorry.
So non-typical question for me. I saw you have many AWS certificates. My question would be, which one was the hardest for you to pass?
It's a difficult question, actually, because in March, I passed the DevOps Professional and Solution Architect Professional, and to be honest, I didn't study at all. I just took the exams basing on my own knowledge of AWS and my own knowledge of using AWS services. And to be honest, I think that those exam certifications are very fair, because you don't need to study the documentation, you don't need to study questions if you are using AWS very hard, from my perspective. They were very, very hard, they're very difficult, but not from the knowledge point of view, but from the concentration point of view, for example. You need to sit for 3 hours and answer quite long questions written in English, and you need to concentrate on this stuff. So from the logistic perspective, that they are difficult, but if you are using AWS and are running a lot of services and we're working in multiple roles, for example, they won't be a challenge, I think.
Thanks. Any questions? Thank you very much. A little applause, guys. Thanks. All right, I told you a little bit about the community day, but here's more information. And the last slide, you have the quiz. All of you passed that? I see the one guy. I see this one guy. You see all of you? See, the second guy. Yeah, perfect. And the third one. All right. So in a moment, okay, like a couple minutes to just fill the questions. And remember, we have some lovely gadgets from our partners today and speakers as well. Do we have any questions from the void? No. Okay.
And maybe our partner and Wojtek wants to award someone for for being the most active today.
No? Okay. Don't worry, guys.
So part of awards have already been given to most active listeners here, and we have two more. We have two more, and if you have some quiz champions.
I am ready.
Wojtek, you want to give somebody's for activity? Hard choice, hard choice. All right, so let's move to the quiz then. All right, give him now. Yeah, just please come on, come over here. Come over here, yeah. Don't worry, it's not Sub-Zero. No, it's actually Scorpion, I think. Only one, come on. It's a bank. Thank you very much. Maria, so what the results of the quiz? Yeah, not stressed out, you know, nobody's waiting. You want a mic? All right, of course.
All right, so first person is Federico Nafria. Congratulations. Drop the mic. All right. Next next winner is Dmitry Mickiewicz.
All right. Hello, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, thanks. Thank you very much for questions and appearance here. And Maria, we have
Wojtek Zola.
Wojtek, please. So now we're going for AWS and take one of the hats or t-shirts if you want. If you want, of course, you know what. We're not pushing you, you know. No, thank you. Maria, who's next?
Debalina, 1895.
All right.
Congratulations.
So now it's my turn. Please, I have hats and these lovely t-shirts. Thank you very much.
Next one is Keoftun Corporation.
Ooh. Hello, sir.
Bravo.
Here we have, and thank you very much. We have 3 more.
All right. So one more goes to Tisova.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much. Yeah, go for it. Thanks, thank you very much. And we have 2 hats.
So one hat is going to use gift. Use gift.
Yep. Good.
Congrats.
Thank you very much, sir. Nice questions.
Next one, drop it to my mail.
No spam guy, huh? Oh, you get a hat. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. We will wrap up. So there was the last presentation. We can stay for chit-chatting a little bit longer, right, guys? It's okay. How much? Yeah, it's okay. Cool. And hey, a little applause for the guys who served you today. You know, they are marvelous. Every time they are cool. All right. Thank you very much for being here. We organize next meetings, but like I said, if you have time in 8th of September, join AWS Community Day in Warsaw. It's really big thing happening there, and it's worth for you to be there. Thank you, Maria, very much for production today. Yeah, thanks, and see you, everybody.